This is the type of film you would get if you gave a crackhead a pen and a pad and say, "Tell me a story," while tossing him a bag of peanuts and lip gloss. Yeah, it's that random. I got you, my nigga.
Be sure to like this video and subscribe to stay tuned and show support for the channel.
So I just watched the movie Until Dawn, and oh boy, it's not what you would expect. Normally I would say that in order to understand this film, you have to understand the origin of the tale. But technically you really don't have to, because it's Until Dawn by name and not by concept. Let me explain before you throw rocks at me. The film Until Dawn borrows from the video game of the same name from back in 2015. It's an interactive movie video game that was cleverly crafted by writer Larry Fessenden and Graham Resnick. The story takes place with a group of friends returning about 1 year later to a cabin in the mountains to meet up with one of their friends named Josh, played by actor Rami Malek, who lost his two sisters a year ago in the same location because of a prank gone wrong, involving his youngest sister Hannah. Our lead actress is the luscious Hayden Panettiere. Sorry. Our lead actress is the luscious Hayden Panettiere. Calm down. Who plays the role of Sam, who meets up with her friends with some new faces and new relationships, as they attempt to enjoy everybody's company for Josh. You see, folks, a year ago, everybody but Josh and Beth wanted to prank Hannah, who they knew had a crush on Mike. The two of them were alone, and she was about to strip butt-ass naked, and their so-called friends were recording everything until Hannah found out, which caused her to run outside into the cold filled with embarrassment, with her twin sister Beth running after her. All the while, her brother Josh was passed out drunk as fuck in the dining area. This was the last time Beth and Hannah was seen by everyone, for they went missing. Now, in the present day, everybody arrived at the lodge with Josh there to greet them. As the night went on, weird occurrences started to happen, resulting in either deaths or disappearances of the cast, depending on how you play the game. Throughout the night, you may have to evade a serial killer, a weirdo wielding a flamethrower, and some shadowy creatures, which they all believe to be the same person, depending on how they look at it from their perspective. Not everyone is aware of what happens, since they have their own rooms in different parts of the lodge. Hence the many storylines. Whether it's rescuing a girlfriend or escaping danger, each cast member makes attempts to survive, which unlocks secrets to the mountainside's history and the killer who lurks over them. Depending on the choices the player makes, the narrative will shift either in their favor or against them, whether now or later in the story. In one instance, a group of friends are encountering the ghost of Hannah throughout the house, which eventually leads them to witnessing the masked killer set a trap for Josh, which cuts him in half. If you play the game well enough, all the friends end up meeting up at the cabin and confront the masked killer, who reveals himself to be Josh, and that everything was a setup and a prank for how they treated his sisters a year ago, where Josh has been recording everything so that they can become internet sensations. Hashtag Logan and Jake Paul. Shit. In light of this nigga's therapy sessions, everyone is pissed, and rightfully so, but Josh's actions does not explain the mysterious happenings to Mike's girlfriend Jessica, who Mike revealed was dead, where Josh revealed that he had nothing to do with. They tie Josh up until dawn approaches, where they can get to the bottom of everything with help from the police. But that's when they encounter the flamethrower dude, who has been on these mountains for a few years, hunting down and killing the real root of this cursed mountain's problems, called the Wendigo. The group are in disbelief until encountering one while witnessing the old man's death. Depending on how you play, the story takes a drastic turn on surviving the Wendigos, uncovering the truth behind the mountain and Josh's sisters, with the goal of surviving this dark, cold, and dreary night, which was supposed to be a sleepover with cookies, pizza, and hot chocolate, and a little bit of poontang. Yep, poontang. I said it. Poontang. Survival is in your hands, and past actions will matter. You want to know how the story ends? Well, you're just gonna have to play the game and survive until dawn. Damn, I should do that too. For this movie, you have to give it up to the crew, especially the editor. It is no easy feat to match shot sizes with overlapping imagery, and that is what hooked me in the very opening of the film. Because each death leads to new terrors, the level of creativity you need to have to craft the world yet alter it slightly to fit the motif is both time-consuming and, for continuity purposes, a craft of its own. Because the night resets, you have to shoot certain scenes a particular amount of times while monitoring set dressings, props, wardrobes, hair and makeup, and the scenery. It wouldn't even surprise me if they shot several Act 1 scenes in the end before moving on to the next phase of the script to piece together in the editing room. Accuracy and precision are important here, and the movie does not miss in that regard. The casting was pretty good, especially for the missing sister Melanie, played by actress Maya McCall Mitchell. It's not that easy finding two girls who look like they could be sisters. Clover, who is our lead, was a great choice, portrayed by actress Ella Rubin, but her characterization needs work. Clover does not exhibit a lot of character flaws, if at all, or showcases a lot of weaknesses. This results in a lack of human connection and believability to the character in general. Upon observing Hollywood's trend, they are pushing for a lot of strong independent female leads, but with that, they ignore the flaws which stop them from achieving their goal. Our story opens up with a mysterious woman with a lot of cake, climbing up out of that hole in the ground, being chased by some mysterious shadowy figure. Now, above ground, she sees this new foe with a pickaxe and pleads that she doesn't want to die again. Roll credits. Wait, again? Then we see our main cast, which are a group of 5 friends who are helping their friend Clover find closure due to the mysterious disappearance of her sister Melanie from about a year ago. Based on her video story online, her last known location was around this mountainside. With help from the store clerk, they learn of a town nearby where people go but end up missing. So as logic would suggest, they go there. The friends are now driving through a rainstorm, debating on whether to turn back or not, but end up driving to a dry clearing, as if they are in the eye of the storm. And within this eye of the storm lies a house. Mind you, they got no black friends, because if they did, they would have taken their asses back home. They investigate the area and find a wall of missing persons pictures, with Clover's sister Melanie being one of them. Also, they find a guest book where Melanie had written her name in it several times, along with a weird hourglass on the wall above a skull. Witchcraft. At this point, we need the police, but things turn for the worse when a masked person takes their car away from them by driving it into the rain, where over time he slowly starts to kill them one by one, the last one being Clover. You would think, damn, everybody's dead, so the movie's over. Oh no. Everybody is brought back to life, as if God and the devil is getting ready to play poker using their lives as chips. They find themselves back to where they originally were because the hourglass tipped over. Now things are getting interesting. Everybody reunites in the house and they just realize that everybody had just died and came back to life. And they quickly need to figure out the who, what, where, when, why, and how if they're going to figure out this bullshit. The group slowly begins to realize that after everyone dies, they are brought back to life, where they face a new foe and challenge while pieces of themselves are slowly withering away and being turned into something else. Their first foe was a serial killer. Now it's a witch. Didn't I just call that? Then it's water. If you drink or touch, you blow up. This is some of the most unexpected, creative shit you would ever see. It was thanks to the witch who possessed or bewitched Clover in a past life that revealed to her that either they survive the night until dawn or become part of it. Now that's some eerie shit. After the exploding water challenge, Clover sees that the real villain was the shop clerk the entire time, who has been manipulating everything. No, really? Like we didn't recognize him from the video game that he would be important. Honestly, I didn't at first, but that's between you and me. In the next life, they realize that they only have a few lives left before it's game over. This was thanks to them finding a video of the store clerk's experiments where he ended up creating wendigos in his lab due to each death the person suffers. This makes absolutely no damn sense, but whatever. Upon finding a receiver to communicate to the store clerk, Clover agrees to meet with him in the woods to see her sister, who has actually turned into a wendigo. After Clover dies with the help of her ex-boyfriend, he then dies, and they all respawn in the house, but without the Asian girl present who is a self-proclaimed psychic. One of the friends remembered that he's been recording events this entire time, and they saw a couple of past instances where they have died, which was like at least 10. They see that a video was made by the Asian girl, and she follows behind the store clerk through a door downstairs, trying not to get caught. With this being their final night, they all intend on surviving, and they venture through the same door the Asian girl went through, knowing that they are navigating through the entire mining town which sank underground, where they flee from Wendigos and the serial killer to help Clover find the Asian girl. Clover finds the Asian girl strapped to a chair that is locked in a room with a chained Wendigo trying to break free, which leads Clover to arrive at the store clerk's office filled with TV security monitors, right before the store clerk comes in to lock the door while drinking what looks like a good-ass cup of coffee. Clover notices water dropping from the ceiling and manages to get some in the store clerk's coffee mug that he placed on the table while he came in while monologuing, where he ends up drinking it and exploding. Clover snatches his keys, breaks the Asian girl free, and they rendezvous with everyone above ground in the nick of time as the last grain of sand drops from the hourglass in the end. Everybody survive and they get into the car and drive home. However, we see in the store clerk's office the TV monitors displaying clear morning skies that change to snow, and the store clerk can be heard in the background. There really isn't any emotional story at all. Every character has their own strengths and weaknesses in their own way, but they are more like personality traits and quirks. And there's nothing about them that they have to change in order to survive this movie. Clover in particular does not debut any traits or weaknesses at all. She only wants to find out what happened to her sister if she's still alive and how to put things to rest. The ending of the film is extremely weak, which shows that there was no emotional story at all. After they survive, they just get into the car and drive off, which is the last thing that we see. There was no growth, for all they had to do was learn the rules of the game they were thrust into like Melanie had to, where they used what they learned to survive. The reason why character weaknesses are important is because it makes everything and everyone feel more real, and it gives motivation for the audience to either root for or against the main characters in accomplishing their goals. Because in order to succeed, they need to overcome this one obstacle in their way, which is the root cause of them not succeeding. The entirety of Act 2 in a story is about the main characters trying to solve the main story's problem without facing their personal issues, their personal flaws in their own life, which is the hindrance to their success. And it's emotionally driven, hence the emotional story. You can't save the world if you don't have faith in humanity to begin with. With this movie, there is nothing they had to overcome emotionally, which would have led to them changing who they are as a person. Nothing learned, nothing gained, nothing changed. They are literally the same people they started out as from before, except now some of them have trust issues, since this girl thrusted a pickaxe into her boyfriend's back for gaslighting Clover to go into the woods to see her sister. Based on everything I've seen, I have to give this movie 2 stars, and here's why. Fundamentally, they ignored just about everything the original story was about and only borrowed the name of the game and some visuals of the characters from the game, like the killer and the Wendigos, but changed the entire origin story behind them. That's it. It's Until Dawn by name, not by story. We also do not explain the mystical element behind why in this one spot of all places people can turn into monsters, die, and come back to life, which is supernatural, and the rules of the supernatural was not clearly defined. It has to if you want to take me seriously. Damn it. Technically, the movie is great, and if I ignore the title of the movie, I would go see it again for the technique alone. It would be interesting if the other 10 or so deaths in the story were revealed in the Blu-ray. Oh shit. I found nothing heinously wrong with the acting other than survival being their only motivation. As a result, there aren't a lot of characters with a lot of depth, which is why I give it a half star. The action story I would give a half star on because although it was entertaining, it had nothing to do with the Until Dawn story, where they could have dived into the lore that was hinted at but never fully disclosed of in the game. Lastly, there was no emotional story, which doesn't create a meaningful opportunity for growth. If I'm to take this story, use the same characters, and keep certain events the same, then this is how I would rewrite the film. And of course, the first scene gets scrapped. 5 friends are venturing out to help Clover find her sister who had recently gone missing. Their parents recently split up after an argument, where the father walked out of the home, leaving the mom and Melanie to fend for themselves while Clover was in college. This caused Clover to come back home to unrest in the family. Melanie believes that Clover was the lucky one in all of this because she was spoiled, and Melanie, who recently turned 18, decides to not go to college and to travel to New York to make a new life for herself and become an actress. Clover disagrees with her decision, but it does not stop her from running away from home. Clover has been trying to complete college while tending to her mom, who is dealing with a divorce and a foreclosure of their home, while keeping tabs on Melanie through phone calls, texts, and social media. One day, Clover loses contact with Melanie and their mom is overly stressed, resulting in them calling the police to file a missing persons case after more than 24 hours have passed. Their father is nowhere to be found either, and after a couple of days have passed, Clover and her 4 friends spend their winter break on helping Clover find Melanie, which takes them to the mountains, which was her last piece of communication via text and social media. As they drove, the snow started to fall heavily, so they decided to find a place to stay for the night. They stumble across a lodge who is currently in the care of a man named Josh, who is with his 2 sisters, Beth and Hannah, who are preparing for a small gathering of their friends in the next couple of days. They allow Clover and her friends to stay the night at one of their cabins, where they rest up and plan their next move. As they settle in, they notice weird happenings outside the snowy lodge. They were hearing voices, and Clover was seeing silhouettes of Melanie outside in the cold, dark weather. Are these hallucinations or a trick played on by the distress of a heartbroken sister? This is how I would set up Until Dawn the movie, happening a few nights before the events leading to the disappearance of Hannah and Beth. If carefully crafted, this could provide enough clues to some Easter eggs, which would lead into the start of the game. Movies are like cleverly crafted puzzles that blend reality with fiction. You want proof? Well, this next video will show you what I mean.